Sweet. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And you're going to get a lot out of this session today. I met Jamie through NAREC, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. He was featured in one of our virtual events. At the time, there was a pandemic, so everybody was wanting to learn ways to, we're always wanting to learn ways to improve our business practices and our business outcomes. So he was a special guest that Roseman, I believe, invited to, and so I was on the panel, and it was a great session. So he left an impression on me then, and then through other events here locally. Gil Ramos hosted a team leaders event here about a month ago or so, 2 months ago, and heard Jamie there as well, and knew you were doing something at the Inspiration Hall, and invited some of the team members to join, and they came back with raving reviews. So just I thought I had to invite Jamie Miller to speak to anyone who would listen in this room, and so those are you all. Thank you for anyone who's watching virtually. Thank you all for joining us here in person, and prepare to enjoy some lessons, some valuable lessons from Jamie Miller, the CEO of Art of Conscious Communication.
Cheers.
Yes.
Appreciate that, Dan.
Thank you, James.
Cheers for having me here. All right, fellas. Okay, so I'm probably going to stand a little bit to the side because that light is blinding it past.
Yes.
All right, so before I just get started, I know I've already been up here a little bit and talked a little bit beforehand. As an official, just starting point. All right, before I start teaching more communication with you guys, show of hands, and I won't have you do like show of hands on a lot of occasions, but just this one question. How many of you, like me, actually think communication is important for what you do for a living? Look at that, every hand goes up. Right, and before I start teaching stuff around communication, what benefits would you guys come up with for being better in the area of communication?
Better relationships.
Better relationships? Okay, can you elaborate on that?
On a personal front.
On the personal front?
Yeah, build better relationships, maybe make more friends.
Right. So there's a personal element to it too. Great.
Not always business.
Not always business, right? Communication, it transcends all scenarios. Zachary, what benefits would you come up with for being better in the area of communication?
Better results with your business.
Okay, what does that mean? What does that
Number of transactions, things that don't fall through, you lead to future transactions. If you leave a good lasting mark on your customer, you have, maybe they'll refer you to somebody else, or they'll want to buy from you or sell from you again.
And what does that put in your pocket?
Money.
Money. Right. Who agrees with Zachary? When you're better in the area of communication, you'll make more money. Great. So, did I turn this on or off? Ashley, I guess it's all the fun of tech support.
Director of Technology in the house.
Let's see, maybe when we dropped.
Yeah, when I dropped it, I may have.
So communicating in general, for personal and business, it's just invaluable. Even just being more effective at communicating with your family members, communicating,
I do have
communicating with customers and clients.
That's my fault.
It's invaluable. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have Jamie here, because life is just easier when you can communicate better. Just imagine all the people out there that get taken advantage of because they're ineffective at communicating. So just being able to appreciate the value of communication is half the battle. Acknowledging the importance of communication.
Since we know we're going to make more money, let's say during this talk here today, let's say factually, I teach you a question that you can ask your clients that get them to sell themselves on what you do without you telling them anything. Who would say that was worthwhile being here today? I teach you that one question. I'll make a promise, and I believe the word promise is the most dangerous word. Because if you promise something, you have to deliver on it, right? I will promise you, I will share that question. Now, if we look at the screen right now, you see reputation, trust, credibility. These are all important things, right? Now, Daniel just introduced me. Some of you have seen me speak before, right? watch this. Do any of you actually feel like I need to know something about this guy to believe he knows what he's talking about? Or do you have complete faith in Daniel that you would only have me come along here today and teach you because I 100% know what I'm doing? Complete faith in Daniel, or do you need to know anything about him?
I mean, I'm sorry.
He knows how to skip it.
I mean, but watch this. So, Luis, you might pick up on what kind of question did I ask there? What kind of question? I said, do you need to know, or do you have faith and confidence? Multiple choice. I don't usually share that point, but so that's the conversation. You guys say you need to know something, all right? So technically, I'm not going to show this video, but this kid was on. I watched TikTok on occasion. This kid was talking to Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett was asked, "What's the number one thing you should invest in?" All right, and he said, "Learning how to communicate." All right, out of all the things he could have picked, he said, "Being a better communicator." All right, would you just trust me without me showing you the video that that's what he said is the number one thing, or do you need to see the video?
Yeah.
Roll it in.
I'm disappointed.
Oh, he's in the Warren Buffett, and the question I have is, Warren, what is one tip? So you're talking to people that are 21, 22, just graduated school. What is one tip that you can give them?
It's very simple. Invest in yourself. And the one easy way to become worth 50% more than you are out of lease is to have your communication skills with and work with it. You could, if you can't communicate, it's like walking in your own car going out. But so you got all the way around the world is how to transmit that transmission is.
There you go.
Okay. By the way, Nick Gull here is one of my clients with Edward Jones. All right, so that's all right. So this is lingo. All right, this kid, he's 23. He became a client, met him at the gym. All right, I built rapport with him within 1 second. Within the space of an hour, he became a client. Least confident person I've ever had in my life as a client. He's done over $3 million in transactions between that, like within the space of less than a year, and he's got more coming.
Yo, what's up? My name Lego. Look, we got Deontay.
I don't know Deontay too, but he's a.
But one thing me and Deontay got in common is that we share the same coach for communication. That's Jamie Miller. This guy personally changed my life, taught me the art of how to ask questions, right? How to not put the focus on myself, but on the solutions and what the other person cares about. You need a communication coach in your life to help guide you and steer you in the right direction, because that's the difference between you being successful and where you want to be in life and you just not hitting the mark. It's all about what comes out of your mouth and the way that it comes out. So Jamie Miller is the most valid guy I can ever say, "Hey, Deontay, what would you say about Jamie?" What is it for you, man? Transform everything into it. Listen to this, man.
All right. So basically, that was in August last year. He closed 1.5. He's done subsequently another few million since then. All right. When I do a post on social media, by the way, I get clients as a result of just doing a post on social media. And if you ever go to my social media, one of the things you'll commonly see is there's always questions. Right? I challenge you, go to your social media, see if you're making statements in your posts, and that might be one of the key reasons why you don't get the engagement that you're looking for from people out there. But now that I just showed you this, who agrees by now I must know what I'm talking about, or do you need to know more? Is that sufficient, or you need to know more? You're good. Okay, then I'm not going to show you all these other things and all these other clients telling you about the millions of dollars that they're doing in sales. I don't need to share any of this stuff.
But you have it all there.
I have it all here, but here's the deal. My point is, I get people to give me thousands of dollars without knowing anything about me. How should you interpret that as a communication lesson? Your past life and everything you bring to the table is irrelevant. Lingo was 23 from the military, he's never done a deal in his life, he's done $3 million with his deals. Why? Because he makes it about the other person. Right? Everything you think you bring, I've been a realtor for X amount of years, I've done this, irrelevant. No one knows anything about my past life that got me into a place where I can actually teach the things that I'm delivering to you. And how many times do you ever have a speaker come up in front of a room, and for the first 10, 15 minutes, what do they talk about? Themselves, right? And they talk about all their accolades, and you're like looking at your watch, being like, when am I going to learn something? Right? The point is, you overshare, and that's where I'll get to this lesson. I don't need to share these things. This is what my phone looks like. At the end of one of these presentations, I get people come up to me giving me credit cards. This is what my phone looks like at the end of a virtual call. Right? It just blows up with numbers, of random numbers that I've never seen before. Right? Based on, at the end of this workshop, people are like, damn, like, that was a lot of insightful things communication-wise. And then I get to teach you guys the first lesson. Are you oversharing? Every time you make a statement of something, if you're more hoping that the person in front of you, it resonates for. How many of you are passionate about what you do? Okay, have you ever found that when you're passionate about something, what can you get guilty of doing? Talking too much. Who should be doing all the talking? The client. Does that make, hopefully that resonates to the first lesson. Now, what movie is this from? What is this related to?
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. Do you all know, does any of you not know what wax on, wax off refers to? Because I'll you all know?
Remind us.
Okay. So wax on, wax off. When Daniel is being taught by Mr. Milby, wax on, wax off, he's like, Mr. Milby, what has this got to do with karate, right? By the end of the movie, can we understand it had everything to do with karate? So by the end of this workshop, you're going to understand. I teach wax on, wax off method of communication because I'll share with you how I engage with my daughter. I'll teach you how I get guys to get online dates, all right? And it's the same verbiage that you will use as realtors to bring on clients. Can we agree? Communication is not just realtors, it's personal life too. So the things I'm going to teach you are the same questions you would ask your prospective client to get them to come on board with you today. So I promise you, you will have wax on, wax off moments here today. Now, my former British self, I've been told I'm very charming, debonair. I've been told I can swear, and it sounds polite. I will not swear today in front of you. I am now a proud American. I have a truck, all right? In the car. Do you remember I said predictability earlier? Right? Every time I say I have a truck, what do you think everyone in the room starts doing? Laughing. That's the idea of outcome. Predictability. Every time you say X, you do Y. I don't always usually share that at this point. However, I'm just giving you an example of what I was talking about earlier. Here's what, I haven't turned in Captain America just yet. Can we just appreciate, I'm going to have the floor for, so it's 12:45. How long do I have the floor until?
We were thinking that you would do 40 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, 40 minutes. Can we agree I can't teach you everything you're going to face in real estate in 40 minutes? That would be impossible. Can we just understand? I'll do everything I can, but I can't do everything, right? My hope is that this lesson really hits home for you. I don't know if I can ever do this justice. All right? When it comes to communication, right, I get better. I bring on client after client, and I get better in communication because I teach this all day, every day. That's what I do. All right? In one word answer, let's say I share something with you guys today and take notes on it and you want to get better at it. Just in unison, just answer me back. For you to get better at something, with one word answer, what do you need to do to get better at something?
Practice.
You should have known better. You should have known better. Michael, have you watched me talk before?
Yes.
I did this same exact slide. All right? You guys just proved to me one thing. You're amateurs at doing the most important thing on the planet. Right? Who should be doing all the talking when you're engaging with a client? The client. And what should you be doing really intently? Listening. I just proved to all of you, you don't listen. You don't do the one thing, that's where I'm really looking for this to really come into play for you guys, for you to understand this. Because if you understand this, this will help you dramatically. Who can see that listening is important? So now if I ask you the question, what should you be doing in order to get better at something? No. Okay, watch this. I get better at sales and communication because I teach this every day, all day, every day. In order for you to get better at something, what should you then do? Teach. Finding out how you listen more intently second time around. My point is this, when the young man knocks on my front door from Edward Jones, I'm not here to sell you something. Right? Someone says to you, I'm not here to sell you something. The words are, I'm not here to sell you something. What are you actually hearing them say?
I'm here to sell you something.
When you go out there, how many of you like the idea, because you're an EXP, of recruiting and having people work for you and making money? Who likes that? How many of you ever gone out there to someone and say, we won't look to recruit you? Okay. Case in point. You're saying the words to them, but that's not what they're hearing. You can say things all day long, but the person in front of you is programmed and wired to hear something completely different. Who can see if you're me, you'd want that lesson to really hit home to people a bit more? Out of all the lessons that you teach, that would be a good one for you guys to understand when you're in front of your clients. Building rapport is the foundation. You need to build rapport. It's the strongest foundational thing out there. How would you guys define, what's your name of the fact there? Jose, how would you define building rapport?
To be honest with you, I suck at it.
How would you define it?
Getting a two-way conversation going.
Get a two-way conversation going? Anybody else? Zachary?
I was thinking it's kind of similar to him, but
Anyone got a different response to that?
Finding common ground.
Okay.
I was gonna say kind of like that, limit, make sense, or copy that.
Okay.
finding more about the client and what their needs are.
Okay. The reason I do that exercise, by the way, some of you have different answers, right? And I'm not the kind of coach, by the way, where I'm like, you have to do it this way. Or I share it like, it's like my way or no way at all, okay? I'm just going to share something. And what all my clients are like, Jamie, it makes so much logical sense. Like, it's so simple, right? People will only buy from people they feel the same as. I'll repeat it. People will more likely buy from someone they feel the same as. Right? Do any of you, do you remember when I got up here, I asked a question, I got every hand raised from that question? Would you believe you're all different? You've all got different backgrounds. Some raised in New York, some raised in the country. Like, you've all got different backgrounds? Yeah, funny enough, I got every hand raised. Do any of you remember the 3 words that I use in order to get you all to raise your hands? And anyone who's seen me speak before is not allowed to answer. In fact, right, if you've seen me speak before and you don't remember, that's even better because it's going to make this valid point. Do you remember the 3 words? Do you remember the 3 words? Right, so watch this. Here's what's amazing about what I teach. Your clients aren't going to know what you're doing, all right? And the way that I help my clients is repetition of stuff because I teach this here and you guys don't all retain it, yet you find it critical. But these 3 words came out of my mouth. Before I start sharing around communication, how many of you, like me, believe communication is really important? Show of hands. And then every hand goes up. I'm being very specific about building rapport around what I sell. I'll say that again. I'm getting very specific around building rapport about what I sell. If I don't know someone, I go general. Are you like me? Do you value your time? What are you going to answer to that?
Yes.
Yes. Jose, are you like me? Do you like it when people are honest with you?
Yes.
I've never had someone say, no, Jamie, please lie to my face. All right? So that's specific. That's general. Right? Lingo came on a client who went up to him at the gym. First thing out of my mouth, hey, you like me? Do you like to have fun in this place? Yes. All right, and then I did a mind read. Who's not seen me read minds before? You haven't seen me read minds? All right, Louise, I'm going to read your mind. All right.
You like me. That's the words.
You like me is the worst. The more specific you get with you like me, the more elevated. So if I'm a realtor, are you like me? Do you think buying a house is a very major decision to make? They're going to say yes. We are the same based on the service that I provide. Don't get caught up word for word, by the way. You don't need a British accent for the stuff that I teach. All right? You can be so. You might say, you know what? Would I be having an alien thought, or would we be on the same page in believing X? It's just, can I make this person the same as me? All right, because the more that they feel the same, the more likely they're going to buy what it is that I'm selling. Now, Luis, I don't know why, but for some reason the pack of playing cards is coming into my head. So, going real fast, you've got to answer, you can't even hesitate, all right? Just answer really, really fast without jumping ahead, okay? Really, really quick. So, we open up a deck because you and I are going to play a game, and we take out the jokers, all right? We remove the jokers, okay? Answer these questions really quick. Don't even breathe. Don't hesitate. Just real quick. Once you take out those jokers, you've got two colours. You've got black, you've got red. Pick one. Black. The red left over. You've got hearts, got diamonds. Pick one. Quick.
Hearts are diamonds.
Yeah. Diamonds. Of the diamonds, you've got none. You've got face.
Numbers.
The face left over. You've got the jack, the queen, the king. Quick. Okay. Before we got started, Luis, I knew that you were going to pick the king of diamonds. That's crazy. Yeah. All right. Now, that's not a trick. The deal is, every time you go into an interaction, if I'm you and I'm going to a listing appointment, the king of diamonds is, I'm going to have them fill out paperwork at the end, or the listing agreement. And I'm going to get them to make it as a good idea. The king of diamonds for me is the words, I agree with you. You're going to hear me say, I agree with you all the time because I'm making it there. Isn't it better when it's their idea rather than yours to do something? Because I'm not telling you anything. I'm going to let some of this stuff sink in. We're going to be outcome driven. And one of the things in mimicking, like you might love this, just usually a boom moment. If Daniel looks at the messages that we've ever sent each other, you'll see that I've done this with him too. Monica texts me, good afternoon, exclamation mark, space, upside down, question mark. At the ending, upside down, question mark, thank you, period, upside down, question mark. I had to Google how to do an upside down question mark, but look at my response, good afternoon, exclamation mark, space, upside down, question mark. Upside down, question mark, thank you, period, upside down, question mark. I know that people buy from people they feel the same as. So I'm not telling you to lose your soul or your sanity. I'm just sharing with you, if someone says to you, hey, and you say hello, you're now different from that person. If someone says the word children to you and you use the word kids, you are now different from that person. They're less likely to buy what it is that you are selling. I'm not saying you become someone completely different. I'm just saying that if you can integrate some of the same words to them, they're going to feel, this is where my clients have people tell, oh my God, it feels like you've known me forever. And all they've done is tweak. Using you like me, tweaking some of the dialogue. If you pick up the phone and you cold call someone, they say hello, and you say hi, immediately you've taken it from a colder place to an even colder place. Now, these aren't my kids, but they don't look very happy, all right? Any of you have kids, I like the idea of my kids doing things in the home without me telling them to do it, all right? And here's how it works. I want my kids to clean their rooms, make their beds. I make it their idea. Kids, do you love it when dad's happy? They say, yes, great. What specifically around the house do you think you could be doing that would make dad happy? They're like, clean our rooms, making our beds. And I say, I agree with you. All right? So the idea is, it's always making it their idea. This guy on the left, some of you will be most likely doing what this guy does on the left. I used to go to LA Fitness, and I'd go up to the guy at the end and say, hey, I'm thinking of checking out Planet Fitness down the street. Do you guys have competition in different areas you have? And how many of you love EXP and you know it's a way better model than any other model out there? Okay. You might be doing this play when you're talking to general realtors. In fact, I would bet my life on it that you've done this, all right, to some degree. I go up and then check out Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness doesn't have the swimming pool, it doesn't have the racquetball court, it doesn't have the basketball court, it doesn't have the punching bag room, the aerobics room. I'm like, well, now you've got me thinking I'm paying too much money for my membership here. And they look at me like I'm like the four heads. Why do I feel like I'm paying too much money?
Because you don't use those amenities.
You don't care about
You tell someone you've got stocks. I know Julie Mars got 250 grand worth of stock in EXP and she didn't even know about it. Meaning what? She doesn't care. She didn't care. You telling someone that you have these things Can you see that clearly is not going to sway them in any way, shape, or form? In fact, if you share, we're going to do this for a buyer or seller, we're going to do this for you, and they don't value it, that's why you're going to get someone saying, will you accept less than 3% commission? If you, the surefire way that you're going to get someone asking you, will you accept less commission, is if you overshare something of you think of value that they don't value.
So don't make it all about you, make it about them.
Correct. Anything you think you bring to the table, all right, is irrelevant. Again, I know that sounds kind of maybe different for you guys. Women, unfortunately for us men, women are better salespeople than men, hands down. I'm purposely trying to stay in touch with my feminine side. All right, why? Here's a key tip. Everyone does things on emotions. They justify it with logic afterwards. I'll repeat that again. Everyone does things on emotions first. They justify it with logic afterwards. Any decision you've ever made is based on an emotional thing first. I bought a truck to feel like a man. There, I admitted it.
Did it work?
Yeah. I pulled up to, when I got divorced, I was in a Volkswagen CC. I pulled up to a traffic light and I saw this big fella with his arm out the window of a truck. I'm like, I want to feel like that guy does. If I went to the dealership and the guy starts telling me it's got these rims, this EcoBoost, this, right? He knows the guy I bought the truck from, Brian Ortiz, all right? So if Brian would have gone off about a whole load of stuff, I'd be like, dude, find me a truck for less money without those things, because that's not what I want. Thankfully, he didn't do that. He just said, does this truck make you feel like a man? I'm like, oh yeah, it does. And I bought the truck. So I mean, there's more to it, but for the purpose of the time I'm here, I didn't learn this till I was 29. You can't beat this up. This is the only thing I would debate till the day I die, that you can't beat up as a formula. Whoever asks the questions steers the conversation. Whoever asks the question steers the conversation. Right? Do you want to control conversations?
Yes.
So you've got to ask questions, but you've got to ask really good questions. Here's a question that you guys are taking, that I've heard a lot of you ask, right, that you shouldn't be asking. You can ask each other all day long. You can ask me, how are you? I'm not selling you, you're not selling me then. In terms of when you're in front of a prospective client that doesn't know you from Adam, all right? If you ask me, how are you, and I don't know you, I'll be like, do you really care? And then what are they going to say? Yes. Well, in that case, I'll start telling you about my whole day. They hang up on me. I'm proving they don't really care. How are you is a programmed, wired thing that we say in
How's
society.
your day going?
But it doesn't get you closer to your sale. If we're at the beginning, we're at base camp at the bottom of the mountain, and we're looking to go up the mountain to help our clients to the top of the mountain, and you ask, how are you? Given what's going on in the world, what is the chances of their answer being positive? And even if they give you a flippant response, they're going to do one or two things. I'm good. I'm lousy. It's taking you back to town before you get back here again to go up. How many like the idea of bringing on a client within one meeting? Okay. You see the urgency. I told you I get people coming up to me at the end of this event. Michael, Tess, you would have come on with me. Right.
Yes, I tried.
I'm not making that up. I didn't just say, like, I know you're a raving fan, but like, I didn't tell you beforehand. All right, that. Okay, when someone says to you, have any of you ever had a seller say, I think my house is worth X?
Yes.
Okay, what's the one question you ask in that moment?
How'd you get to that conclusion?
Right, that's another terrible question.
They feel like they have to defend.
Not only just defend, but here's the deal. You're asking someone, who's the expert, you or them? You. You're asking someone who's not the expert. You're shooting. Here's what realtors do, here's what everyone inside to do, here's what parents do. I'm just going to be very frank about this. You shoot from the hip. It's an immediate response. Someone does something wrong to you. Why did you do that? Right? When you should be asking them, why shouldn't you have done that? Let their eyes go into their head and actually think and then share with you so they can show you they've got a greater understanding why they shouldn't have done something. It's like the Edward Jones guy. Are there any reasons why you wouldn't want life insurance? Well, since you asked me the reasons why I don't want it, let me share those with you. If you have a seller and they say, I think my home is worth X, and you say, how did you come to that? You now have to listen to then justify it to you something that is most likely tied to a bad credit card debt that they've got because they want to clear this number, sell the property to take care of that, right? There's better plays that you can do that still get you the deal, still garner your credibility without you oversharing, where you're not asking that question that takes you away from the sale. Oh, before I show you next, I do have your permission. There's a bunch of guys to show you how I help someone get an online date without saying anything about themselves, just using 3 questions.
Back to your last point
Go ahead.
about the home value, right?
Right.
You're in a home value, and that's the automatic response. What's your suggestion for a better response to that?
Why would you like to know that?
Because if your statement begs the question.
Okay, so watch this. He asked me a question. What did I do straight back?
That's
Step on that,
So who's controlling the conversation?
you are.
How much value would you place if I was to teach that right now, Daniel?
Significant.
Significant. Fantastic. Let's say I got time at the end to share that, all right? I tell you what, because I've only got like 20 minutes. Would that be something you all value learning? What am I doing here? I'm gaining emotion before I share something. If you ever get asked, will you accept less than, what commission do you get charged? If you immediately say 6%, 3%, without extracting, do they value you or do they believe you can help them? It's an irrelevant conversation. I'll let this stuff this stuff goes quick, guys. It's not going to all sink in for you, but the idea is for you to be like, oh my God, right, I'm trying to statements. I'm asking amateur hit questions. I'm doing stuff. I will share that with you today. I don't usually share the answers to that today. Now, it's called what, why, how. All right? What, why, how. This is a wax on myself moment for you guys. Friend of mine tried to get a date. I said, go with what, why, how. I said, if you could pick one characteristic that you want when choosing to go on a date with someone, what would it be? The girl responded, chivalry. I said, ask her why. Right? I believe chivalry is important. Why did you pick that characteristic? She said, it shows us someone will treat you frankly and not only made with it. I said, answer this. So if I'm able to illustrate chivalry is important in the way that I treat someone, question, would you be up for meeting up? The feeling part, the how part, would that feel like you met someone rare? She said, I like your response. The answer is yes. Did my client tell her anything about himself? Remember we were talking about thinking about the other person? Right. When choosing a realtor, what is one characteristic you would value beyond anything else when choosing a realtor? Body language, me. This. Oh, why that? Because da, 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 da. How would it feel? Would it feel pretty good to know I can 100% deliver on that? Yes. Now you get a chance to ask for the business more seamlessly rather than stretching for the business. So, yeah, I mean, I use what, why, how in every interaction. Ruby, is it good or bad to be on your device too much? She says bad, multiple choice, still it's bad. Why is it bad? I'll end up with no friends, like no hermit with a social life, no social life. Ruby, that sounds terrible. How would you feel, Ruby, if you had no friends? Oh my God, that'd be awful. So when it comes to your device, what are your thoughts? I shouldn't be on it so much. I agree with you. Right? That's the dialogue. Oh, just so you know, you don't have to have a British accent. Jim Roman, 30-year business coach. He never knew what, why, how. Guess what I did to close the deal and how I did it? Trust me when I say it was an awesome experience. He gave me a super boom. Who's excited to learn the one-off question that I said you would learn? Okay. I already asked it. There was a second question that came out of my mouth up here. I even got Zachary to say that he'd make more money. All I did was ask a question. Does anyone remember the question? And here's the good news. Your clients won't know what you're doing when you're doing it.
It was what would improve if you were able to communicate better.
Yeah, okay, so close, but here's the question. You can ask it if you want. All I said is, before I start teaching you stuff around communication, what benefits would you come up with for being better in the area of communication? Then you start telling me what you value.
Which tells you what to teach.
Doesn't actually, the slides are the slides.
Yeah, but how you.
But I just know, but I know this much. Watch this. Zachary, have you learned anything in the last half an hour from me?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand I can't teach you everything in the time that I'm up here.
Correct.
Okay. You shared earlier, frankly, you'll make more money when you're better in the area of communication. Were you just feeding me stuff that you want to believe, or you actually believe that?
Actually, do that.
You actually believe that? So can you see where people have invested in me to help them, and it's brought them in a lot more money?
Yes.
So when it comes to my services, what are your thoughts? What should you be doing? If I know more than what you know around communication, and you know and you believe it, you can put more money in your pocket, and you've learned things from me in half an hour, when it comes to me going forward, what do you think you should be doing when it comes to my training?
Attending them and learning from them.
Okay, great, I agree with you. Do you understand where I'm going? Like, what value do you place on communication, putting more money in your pocket, low or high?
High.
High. What do you expect to make on one listing? What would you expect to put in your pocket money-wise from one listing? On average,
on 3,000 or 4,000.
3,000 or 4,000. Right, so as long as I'm close to there, that's a sensible investment, right? Okay, great. Do you see what I just did there, by the way, guys? It's on tape. But did I tell him to do anything, or did I just pose questions for him to do something?
Pose questions.
The one question is, what benefits would you get? So if I'm a realtor, I'm going, hey, before I get started, what benefits would you come up with for having me here? Like, if you're like me, you value your time. What benefits did you come up with for having me here? If they say, I don't know you from now, I'd be like, perfect. I pride myself on customizing my experience for my clients. What would you want to hear from me today? So you can get a sense of confidence, right? So this your home. There is more, but for this purpose of this workshop, like, that's good enough. Well, you're making it about them, not you. Let me tell you all the reasons why you should use my services and what I can do for you. Because that's me monster, that's just me. You want to find out from them what they value, and then everyone will do things based on one thing. I said, what is one characteristic you want to see? You can say, what do you need to see? It's too broad-based. Everyone will do things based on one dominant buying motive. I get my lawn mowed on the weekend. It's not like I can't physically do it. My dominant buying motive is my time. I'd rather spend my time doing another activity. Your clients will do things based on one thing. I got a girl to drive 2 hours to see me, just texting her, by the way. What would you say the benefits would be for you to come see me? This was me. She lists off 1, spontaneity, 2, new opportunity, 3, interesting conversation, 4, no regrets, 5, no. All I said is, I agree with everything you just shared. So with that being said, what do you think you should be doing right now? She goes, driving down to see you. I said, great, I'll see you in a couple of hours. On the right-hand side, client with smiley face, he got a girl to write an entire essay to him. Just by texting that question. Who's liking this stuff? Are you enjoying this stuff, guys? Is this a fun training for you guys? All right. I'm not going to spend time on this, but you can understand this from a communication. Anytime you're emailing someone, the only thing you should be selling is a phone call. Anytime you're on the phone, I was talking to Daniel about this earlier, the only thing you should sell on the phone is a meeting. That's it. Your script, if you're asking them a bunch of discovery questions, you are not getting a meeting. You're having 45-minute phone calls. Oh, it's a wonderful call, but it's not getting the outcome. I don't usually teach this, but I thought I'll leave this in for today. Are you using these words? Right? I would like to meet with you, or I just wanted. Go through your social media and say, I just wanted to leave a video. I just wanted to show you a tour of this home. I want. What's the problem with that? I want. No one cares. When you were kids, because a lot of you don't have kids, and you go to the grocery store and you get to register, what does every kid on the planet turn around to their parents and say? I want candy. What does every parent turn around and say to them? No, you're not getting. We don't care what our own kids want. What chance do we have of complete strangers caring about what we want? You want to, if you're saying the words I want, that's a big problem. That's the reason you're not getting the response rate that you're looking for, because it's I want. I'm going to teach the sweetest little word on the planet. The word is yet. Yet. For any of you who have found asking someone for business is hard, right, this will stop you oversharing, all right, and it'll make it easy for you to ask for business. Halfway through a meeting with someone, turn around to them and say these words. Have you heard everything that you need to hear from me yet to feel confident to list the home with me? If they say yes, Perfect, the next step is so simple, we're just going to fill out the agreement. If they say no, what's wonderful about the word yeah is you can still continue engagement. That's perfect, what would you want to hear from me? So that you can feel that sense of confidence. It doesn't end the dialogue. However, it will stop you oversharing when they answer with a yes. The other thing is your self-talk, conscious communication. Who can understand, by the way, that consciousness, the conversation, most of my clients hire me for this reason, and this reason alone. What conversations are you having with yourself before you go into an interaction? Because if they're negative, I promise you, that's what's coming across to someone.
Positive affirmation type talk.
All of you, if you're getting on the phone, it's like, I'm burning for dollars, I have to do these calls. Immediately you've lost. If you're going into a listing, why would they use me? I'm a novice, they could use a veteran, you've lost. Do you understand? Like the outcome, you can be everything but desperate. You can be nervous, you can build vulnerability, you can be vulnerable. I said this before I even got up here. Right? The word yet, watch this. If you say I haven't reached my goals for 2022, that's negative. Add the word yet on the end. See how your psyche changes instantly. That's just one key example of self-talk for yourself. And now I'm going to use I'm going to teach you guys the most powerful word on the planet in sales. All right, if you use this word, and they answer with a yes to you, it's very difficult for them to say no after the fact. If you use this word in a question towards it, and you have to use it at the end, you can't use it at the very beginning. You use this question at the end, and they actually give you an emphatic yes, very difficult for them to say no afterwards. All right, that word, anyone want to have a guess what that word is?
Yeah.
No, that's the sweetest word. The word is believe. Everyone will do what they want to do. Even more strongly, everyone in life will do what they believe. People go to church, synagogue based on belief. People invest hundreds of thousands of dollars go Rollins College based on the story they've told themselves that they believe. As a result of getting it, they're out there. If you ask an individual, do you believe I've got your best interests at heart? Do you believe I know what I'm doing? Do you believe that I faced this a number of times? If they say yes without hesitation, they're going to go, then may I suggest you go with my opinion, and they're going to be more inclined to go along with it. Tom Brady, different people all use the word believe. In Ted Lasso, it's the word believe, right? It's believe is the most powerful word. Watch this. Who believes, I mean, Daniel invited me here, this is the second time, Daniel's seen me in a few, Daniel's known me for over a year because of NAREP. I did an interview with Rose Kemp on Facebook. I got 4 clients from NAREP. Ruth Rivera has me come along to speak to Caldwell, and I do their power hour. I'm doing it on the 28th, all right? Like, who believes that who in this room, genuinely, stick your hand up nice and high and hold it up. If you believe that I can 100% help you put more money in your pocket, stick your hand up high if you actually believe that. Hold it up high. All right, so how many people are in this room? And every single one, actually, all of you had your arm up. That's 100%.
More hands than people.
Okay, right. Thanks to Michael. No, but watch this. And who likes the idea of being around people when they say something, they do something about it? Who likes that? Okay, so if you genuinely believe I can help you, you genuinely know I can put more money in your pocket, when I put my phone number up, what is an action that you guys should take?
Take a number down.
Write it down.
You could just do that, but what's another action that you should be doing?
Take a picture of it.
Texting. Who agrees with Michael? You should be texting me. If it just sits in your phone, it does nothing, correct? So who agrees you should be texting me? I agree with you. And that is how my phone blows up with phone numbers. It's an outcome. If you don't text me, can I bring you on as a client? No. Do you see where I'm going with this? Oh, and by the way, all right, watch this. You guys, I don't usually do this, but you guys like stories. All right? Have any of you ever had someone say to you, I'm going to do this, just not right now? Okay. So I go story time. Luis, you're going to love this. I had Viviana, she's a Delta airline stewardess, Viviana, she's with EXP downtown. And I met her at the potluck at the Gather, all right? And she comes up to me, she goes, Jamie, I'm going to do your training, I'm just not going to do it right now. And Deontay, my client, who referred her to me, said, oh my God, you've gone and done it now. Like, he's laughing. I said, Viviana, here's what's going to happen. In the next 5 minutes, you're going to give me your credit card. I said, said, because I'm going to use a technique. I've used the same technique on Deontay, I'm going to use the same technique on you. Here's the good news. After I've used this technique in the future, I'll teach you what I did so that you, when you face someone saying something, you'll have an idea about how to address it. I said, tell me someone you admire, Viviana, that I would have heard of. And she said, Kobe Bryant. I said, oh, I love Kobe Bryant, because I have him in my curriculum. I said, have you ever heard of or read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? She goes, I've heard of it, I've not read it. I said, well, in that book, it teaches this key principle. It says, don't reinvent the wheel. It says, go out there, if you find someone successful, you copy what they do, values and habits-wise, you're more likely to have success. Viviana, can you see that making sense? She goes, absolutely, it makes sense. I said, great. I said, now imagine Kobe Bryant stood right here saying to me, Jamie, I know you can help me. I value it immensely. I want your help. I believe it can help me. Could you ever imagine Kobe Bryant turning around the next saying, I'll wait till later? She goes, no. I said, when should you be doing this? She goes, right now. I said, I agree with you. She goes, I'll go and grab my card. Do you see how that works? You guys face an objection. I face an objection. I'm like, it's not everything to lay down. Watch this. If I was to say it's worth its weight in gold, all right, and then if I was to say that I created a payment plan for people to come on board, all right, would that make it attractive for you guys? Who would take advantage of something like that? Great. By the way, my phone is not on. I've got two text messages from someone in this room. Who texted me? Okay, so the other people. All right, look, I actually like this. Is this good if I show challenges? All right. So, what would you guys need to or want to hear from me so that you would feel comfortable texting me like the other two have? Price. Okay. So what? So he wants that. All right. So and you've been a realtor now. Look at my body language. Okay. So I'm not you're not there. Okay. I'm gonna sit here. I did my back and play soccer again. All right. So look at my body language. Just casual. All right. So you believe I can help you. You just want to know what the investment is. Is that correct? All right. And you've been a realtor now for how long? 16 years. Would you be able, if I was to share with you, now, do you like the idea of something being a no-brainer?
I don't believe it. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let's say if I asked you to think of a time, how would you define, like a no-brainer? How would you define that?
Takes minimal effort, easy returns.
Minimal effort, easy returns.
I think it's going to take effort. So.
Of course, like if I said to you, it's like a marathon, not a sprint, right? You would agree with something like that.
Yeah, probably so.
Okay, so watch this. Let's say, no-brainers are usually they're usually a decision they don't take all the thought in the world. It's like if you've got a buyer, you show them a house that they told you everything they want, and it fits it, and then you've got like the subject to clauses for the inspections and things of that nature so they can feel comfortable that if it doesn't live up to that, they can pull out of the deal. Would that make it a more easier kind of decision for you? Someone. I love this, by the way. The more of a challenge I get, the better I laugh.
I'm a skeptic.
That's fine. Hey, do you know what? It's interesting. There's two terms. Skeptic, he's used it. So go, and then cynic. No, skeptic and cynic. Skeptics, you just want to be shown the facts, right? And then you make a decision. They formulate it on those facts.
I do buy.
Cynics just says no to everything, right? Let's run this by you. Let's say you came on board, you made the investment, and I'll show you what the investment is. Before I do that, I'll ask you what value you place on it. But before I do that, let's say you came on board as a client. I put a smiley face afternoon, and let's say 3 months go by, and you don't one time turn around to me and say, I love it, or I like it. Not one time. There's your money back. I'm happy for you to go on the way, I'll go on my way, because all my business comes through referral and keeping people warm. Right? let's say that you could make an investment knowing full well that if you didn't at least see something that can help you going forward, you got all your money back. Would you say that makes it a no-brainer for you?
It helps.
It just helps
More comfortable.
more comfortable. Okay. Here's what I'm going to show you. Not everyone's going to be my client, and I'm fine with that scenario. I know this much. I know that, for instance, in networking, you're uncomfortable with networking based on what you showed me at the beginning.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. If I said that networking and someone asked you what you do for a living, it's the most important question you could ever get asked out there, and it's an opportunity to bring on a client. Right? And that Bobby Davidovitz downtown says this: the only way you get to make money, the only action that's producing money for you guys is meeting people.
I agree with that.
Okay. Do you think I know more than you about communication?
Yes.
Okay. And that, do you notice, no hesitation on that answer, but he's been hesitant in other areas, but he knows, and he said, yes, no hesitation. You do believe that I know more than you know about communication.
I do believe.
I know for a fact that I can help you in networking and other areas. What would be an area that you would see the most benefit in communication for yourself?
Not sitting in the corner at events.
That is-
I don't go to events.
Okay. Would you want to? Look, there's some people who've got a theory that you get out of your comfort zone and that's a good thing. There are some people, here's my truth. I believe you should operate, start as you need to go on. The way I bring on clients is doing this stuff. I'm not cold call. I do cold calling for 3 hours of a year, just so I can teach people what I did to net money from cold calls, right, in the conversations that I have. So it's not like you've never done it. Do you understand? I do that yearly, all right? Some of you might have heard of, the real estate, NAREP and NARPERM, National Association of Realty Property Managers, all came to business from cold calls. Right? Do you understand? Like, I'll call a group to get speaking engagements that pay me to do these talks. If you do believe genuinely that I know more than what you know, does that take you to a more comfortable place to invest in me? All right, and two, the fact that I'm in town, you physically are able to see me.
I looked at the phone.
Okay,
Very good.
all right. Have you heard enough yet to feel confident to come on board for my services once I throw out what the investment is?
No, they really don't actually want you to do it.
Okay, do you see? All right. If I taught you things in communication that got you listings, all right, helped you with your cold calls, if you ever were to go to an event, or even if you're at a Christmas party and someone says to you, what do you do? That you have a better response that could actually be on a client, would you see value in that stuff?
Yes.
Okay, great. What kind of value, low or high?
Medium.
Medium. Here's what he's telling me. I probably don't want him as a client. Do you understand? Like, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to ask someone, have you been pre-approved? They're going to say no. You don't want that person as a client. You want the client that says not yet.
But he's not saying no though, because he's.
I'm not, yeah, but here's my deal. I keep fighting, but I don't fight with clients. I don't mind not having, I don't get laid downs, but I don't mind having someone where it's just not a good fit. I don't need the smiley face after my phone. Just so you're aware, that smiley face means you get me for life. I'll teach you everything I know, all right, and then some, on the way here. So if I show you last night, Armando, Edward Jones, smiley face. Last night, he's already been through my curriculum. He texted me, Jamie, I want to post something on LinkedIn for business owners. I'm looking to go after 401ks. And then he texted me what he wrote. I called him immediately. He didn't pick up. I said, call me when you get a moment. All right. This morning, on the way here, who was my last phone call? Armando. All right. How long was the call? 4 minutes.
4 minutes, sorry.
All right. And he's like, I love it. Thank you. I've helped him out. Just to get in a post, just to do a post on social media. Basically, I make myself available for pep talks for you guys when you're going to go for a listing and things of that nature, when you're going to get on the phone. Who now sees you're not getting an apprentice of me, you're getting me. Who would say that's valuable? Who's more confident in me than Dave here? Okay, so that's my audience. Now watch this. When I leave, and I'm going to phrase this into a question now. If I get more than 50%, if I was to share with you, the standard is 10% you're getting hired by any seminar company on the planet to go and sell something for them. Who would understand? I used to, basically, if I'm sharing something about my past life, I would get companies to hire me to go and sell their products and services on their behalf. All right, for them, and jump on an aeroplane, speak in front of big rooms. Now what I do is I teach people how to do the communication in order one-to-one, right, to get clients themselves in real estate or financial advisors, things of that nature. If you're me and you bring on 50% of a room, which I've done, all right, and more at the Inspiration Hall, technically, would you be thinking, like, what would someone need to hear to feel like if they're closing way more than 50% to actually ever do something? That's a stellar level to be going. Great. I've not actually ever asked that question in front of the room. I guess I'm just doing a kind of challenge. But thank you for that. Who learned something there from that scenario, that engagement? It's okay to walk away.
Right.
I'll practice what I preach. I'm not going to be desperate. I don't mind asking some questions. If I say, when do successful people take action? And they say, when they're comfortable. I'm like, yeah, you're not my client. We read different books. So, guys, was that good?
Great.
So thank you, Jamie.
Thank you. I think I went a bit over there.
And the Zoom and the StreamYard, but that was incredible. And your phone number is actually on the screen here, so